Um, so after watching the video, it was a really good video because I felt like he was talking about some things that I had never considered in counseling. Not considered, but like I wouldn't think to. The part I'm talking about is when he was just wanting his client to know that he is a white male and she is an African American female, and he just wanted to make sure that she was comfortable, and if she had any questions for him before he had continued on with the counseling session. And I kind of thought to myself, like, is that something that I would do? But I low key think that it made the video run smoother because he addressed the not the elephant in the room, because it wasn't to her and it wasn't to him, but he addressed it because he knew that, like, that was a big difference between them, and he wanted to make sure that she was comfortable with opening up to maybe a type of person that she never considered talking to in her life. So I really liked that about the second part of the video, but I just wanted to say that in the beginning. But continuing on, um, I'm looking at my notes for the question. So first question was, what were your feelings when you watched the first part? Well, the first part of the video, I felt very bad for the client because, and like, when you sign up for things and then it's just like not at all what you expected. I felt like that's how the client felt, and I think that's especially hard when it comes to counseling, because counseling, you're like, that's a big step for you to sign up to talk to somebody about all your problems. So just knowing that, they are not giving you any energy, not even looking at you, and this, like, she probably thought in her head, like, this was not what I expected when I came to do counseling or when I signed up for counseling. So my feelings in the first part was like, I just felt bad for the client because I really feel like opening up to somebody takes guts, and for you to not be validated has to hurt. So I felt bad for the client. What was the body language or nonverbal communication of the client? So she kind of looked at him like kind of side eye ish when he answered his phone, and she looked uncomfortable because he wasn't looking at her, and she looked like she was trying to figure out, like, why is he not looking at me, like, why can't he look at me? And all I could think about was, again, like, is that making her uncomfortable? Because I would be uncomfortable if I signed up to talk to somebody about my problems and they did not want to look at me, and they answered their phone and they're just like, oh, like, I think he said at the end, like, that sounds like bad luck. Like, you're invalidating my feelings by saying that it sounds like bad luck. When she's clearly struggling and she just needs somebody to be there for her, and he couldn't even look her in the eye. So you could tell that she was uncomfortable. Um, Her body language was very, like, I felt like if she had an imaginary shield in front of her, kind of like backed up, like she was not open, and like respectfully, because he was not looking at her, he was not paying no mind to her, and seemed like he had other things going on, or that he was just trying to get through the session, and especially made it difficult for her because she was a grad student, and she was like, she just wanted somebody to understand her stress of school and like wanted the motivation to keep going, and he was not validating any of those feelings and was just like, is there anything that's not hard in your life? And I would personally have a problem with that, if I was looking for comfort. So you could tell she just looked uncomfortable, and her body language was closed off, rightfully though. How would you describe the feelings of the counselor? In the first part of the video, the counselor was very, it seemed like he had a rough day himself. he got a phone call in the middle of the session and picked it up and was like, oh, that happens sometimes. And seems like he did not take his job seriously. And it truly seemed like a client came in and he did not have no care for her, so he just wanted to get through the session. Um, that's how I would describe his feelings. And it was very rushed. It was very like life goes on, and he was looking down. He was even holding his head like if he was stumped. And I couldn't imagine if my client was stumped and looking for answers and I looked stumped hearing her story. Again, counseling and therapy is a very vulnerable thing. It's a very big step for people. And a lot of people, like he said in the video, are looking for empathy, are looking for someone to not even relate to them, but just try to understand where they're coming from. And he said that it was very important, especially now, to try to understand people as best as you can, even if you don't agree with them or have different opinions, or different skin color as them. Empathy is so important to carry when you're a counselor. So from the first part of the video, he did seem like he was off, and he seemed like a bunch of it was stuff that are minor problems for her, and she would get over it or feel better at another time. So anyways, the next question is, what were the most striking differences in the second part of the video? The most striking differences was he was like leaned forward listening to her, and when he wanted to say something, he said, I hope you don't mind, and then continued on. Or like he even said like, I'm just hearing this and I'm just getting a feel as if. And she said like, if you hold yourself like you have a good like image of yourself. Like he was really trying to understand her way better than the first part. Um, he asked for, information about her from the jump. He didn't just like keep going or keep like pushing it off. No, he asked her, what's going on? How do you feel? He even told her like, you know, like when she was passionate about the situation with her and her other colleague, he even told her like, I can see the passion in your eyes, like as if he's relating to her a little more. And it's like, I could tell that situation really upset you. And I think from that, when he said like, I can see the fire in your eyes and you had every right to be upset, I think that's when she really set in on like, I'm gonna open up, because he doesn't even know me, and he doesn't think the situation that I was in was acceptable either. And that is a little bit of empathy that goes a long way. He didn't tell her that she was just a mad woman. He didn't tell her that she, like, the colleague was joking and that it was okay, or like, don't take it to heart. No, like, he backed her up. It was like, I could tell that you still have something that's bothering you, and I'm here. So that made the video switch. And even from the jump, of like I told you, like he said, I just want to address that I am a white male and you are a black African American, and if you have any questions or if you want to say anything, please, like, I want to be here for you the best as I can, but I also want you to be able to feel comfortable. So I liked that. I really enjoyed just him, switching his mood, or switching. I know that wasn't him from the first part, but I could really tell he was a good counselor from the second part. Because, like I said, those are the tough questions that we have to ask, or we have to even say, just to make sure that we're establishing good client relationships. And then think about your own verbal or nonverbal behavior and that of people around you. Do you think it might be difficult to always be attending or observant your clients in a school setting? I would make sure that I cut out a period of time for my clients, meaning that I would let my administration know, I would let my teachers know, and I would probably just put a sign on my door saying it's not the time. I know a lot of times now counselors are wrapped into administration calls or like testing purposes, and that's not the kind of counselor I want to be. So I will make sure that I have a dedicated time set for my students, because I know when I got pulled out in counseling in elementary school, that one-on-one time with my counselor meant the world to me. And some kids strive when they have one-on-one meetings with counselors, and then when you see if when they jump into like middle school or elementary, they don't have as much one-on-ones, they start going down a little more. So I think having one-on-ones and being fully attentive to my clients is the number one thing that I aspire to put in place when I become a counselor. um, I would say, like I said, it might be a little harder without being like at your own practice or something, because you're in a school setting, so you might get called for things, or like fire drill happens, or like testing happens, so you can't pull kids that day. So I will say I think it is harder. And then, what areas I need to monitor on is, I think sometimes I might be too chatty with clients. Not too chatty as to where like, I'm saying like things are unnecessary. I think I just mean like I need to be a better listener, and let really the client guide the whole, counseling session. And that's what I'm learning in these classes. So I appreciate getting to see other people, even if it's like through a video. I just appreciate seeing other counselors and thinking of what I want to do. So I really like the video, and I look forward to the next discussions.